Hello guys, welcome to this new tutorial. So to make a break on the building WordPress in the cloud, we're going to talk about something more advanced, more cool, or let's say more enterprise ready. I mean, big enterprises will need this feature. So today we're going to talk how to connect Azure and AWS. So we're going to see how the users inside Azure will be able to use AWS without creating credentials inside AWS. So we're going to do federation today. Let's jump to the presentation to explain more in detail. Let's get to it. Hi again. We are now in the presentation. So let's jump to the slides. Let me grab my pen here. So what is federation? So federation is where, for example, where you have all your users and you're going to use this user repository to log on to different services. So for example, we can see here we can log with GitHub, Amazon Web Services, Office 365, Salesforce, and many others. And actually, depending on which kind of application, there is different ways how we can use federation. So the most common way is SAML 2.0, which is an open system of communication. There is OAuth2 as well, so there is different ones. Okay, so the benefits of federation. First one, and I think this is the most important one, is a single point of truth. That means your users are created in single place and they are not spread across different applications. So that means, for example, if you are a big corporation and you have a new employee, you create its account on the Active Directory, for example. And in this Active Directory, you will have different applications that connects to this Active Directory. That means if this user have the rights to use this application, then the user will be able to use these applications without the need of creating a user in each application. Okay. So most of the services are accessible via SSO, single sign-on. That means you first log in with your Azure, your Active Directory, and then you will be redirected to the application SSO. Okay. You can have finer grains of policies. So that means you can allow the user to use certain application with certain conditions, etc. We're going to see that on the presentation later. And most of the companies already have Microsoft Active Directory, I mean the big ones. So they don't want to create a new users every time. Every time there is a new application coming in. So why not benefit of this Microsoft Active Directory and connect to the applications with that? Okay. So now we see we're going to see how Azure and AWS will work together. So here we have a very strong user called James Bond who belongs to Azure Active Directory. This is the Azure zone and this is the AWS zone. So in AWS, we're going to declare a SAML identity provider, and this identity provider will trust our Azure Active Directory. And then there will be, for this example, two roles, created with a trusted entity as this Azure Active Directory identity provider. Okay, so that means these roles will be assumable by the users that are in the Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. Okay, so how is going to work? So first of all, the user James Bond will have a specific URL to log in. So he will run this URL against Azure Active Directory. Then the Azure Active Directory will know we want to query the Amazon identity provider. So it will give him a SAML assertion or SAML token if you prefer. Then this user will use this token to go to the AWS single sign-on endpoint. Okay, and the user single sign-on endpoint will check if this identity provider is known, And if it's known, then and the user have the correct rights to use the roles that are passed in the SAML token, then the SSO will generate temporal credentials using Amazon STS and for the role, the specific role which has been passed in the SAML token. Okay, and then when everything is done, the SAML SSO, the AWS SSO will send a redirection to the user James Bond, who will be able to log in the console directly without putting any credentials. Okay, so let's crack on and see how it works. So I am already connected with Azure. So we're gonna see our Active Directory just to show you Active Directory. Gonna see here I have one user, which is myself. Okay, here we have a user. So now what we're going to do, the first step is to go to app registration in the Active Directory, So let's go here. And here we want to register a new application. So you go to Enterprise Application here, and then you click on New Application. Okay. Here you look for AWS. And you choose the Amazon Web Services, not the console one. Okay, so you click here. And I want to use this. Yeah, let's add it for now. Could specify a different name, but for this example, we don't need. Okay, so now we're gonna wait a little bit because it needs to get ready, and we'll see when it will appear in app registration. So for now there is nothing. Let's wait a little bit. Still go to Enterprise Applications. We're going to configure it first. And then we're going to configure AWS. So here I want to go to single sign-on. And I want to use the single sign-on with SAML. So let's go here. And then you need to click on the first one. Just for the example, just leave it as default. Okay, so click Save. And then the second thing we need to do is to add SAML parameters. Okay, so here we go. Test it later. So in the user attributes and claims, we're going to add 3 new attributes. So for example, if you look to the documentation of Azure, what they say, actually it's to add the following parameters. Okay, so let's do it. So first, role, I'm going to start with role, okay, because simple and easy. New claim, so the name is role. Then I don't remember. I think it's user.role, user role something. No, it's assign role. Okay, and the namespace URI. So you just copy that. Okay. Okay. Save. Then let's add the second one, which is the session duration, and here it's a string. So let's put 1 hour. Okay, save. And now let's do the last one. Namespace. And here it's role session name. And So I had different problems with that, because if you look here, it says user principal name. But what happens is the role session name is something that is passed to AWS for STS to create a session, okay? And Amazon doesn't support all kind of characters. So for example, if your user principal name is your email address, the @ will make AWS fail. So I had different issues with that. So instead of putting the user principal name, what I'm going to do is just to pass the object ID of the Azure AD. You just might want to change the user principal name, or maybe use the user nickname for that. I didn't set the user nickname in my account, so I will not using that. The object ID might not be the safest thing, even if everything goes in Amazon is still safe, but it's not the safest thing to pass through. But for this example, we're going to use this one, user.object ID. So this will be the object ID of my user, okay, the default user that I'm running here in Azure, okay. So let's click on save, and let's go back to our SAML. Okay, so here we have set everything up. Let's just check that what's going on. Provisioning, yeah, it's selected by default. Okay, so now in provisioning here, so you have two ways of to do it. First way is to do it manually, is the way we're going to choose, and the second way is to use an automatic provisioning. So that means to do automatic provisioning, you will have to create an IAM user and to put it inside AWS for the user to create the roles, etc., and give the iron roles to Azure. We're not going to do that because most of the corporations doesn't like this way. So we're going to do the more professional way. So we're going to keep the provisioning manual. And now what we are going to do, so we're going to single sign-on, and we're going to get the manifest that will be used for SAML, okay? So here, on the SAML signing certificates, here you have the Federation metadata XML. So I'll just click on download. And this actually, no. Anyway, so now we have downloaded the SAML. What we are going to do now, we are jumping into AWS and configure the identity provider in order to accept our Azure AD. So here I am logged in my account. So let's just go to IAM. Click on identity provider here. And let's add a new one. So identity provider, SAML, and let's say Azure AD. And here we choose the metadata document, the one that we just download. So for me, it's the third one. This one, which is just now. Okay, open. And next step, okay, create. So now we have our identity provider. We need the roles that the users inside Azure AD will be able to assume. So let's go to roles, and we're going to create two different roles. So the first one, let's choose SAML 2.0, Azure AD. I want allow access pragmatic and management console access. Permissions. First one will be admin role. Click on administrator access. Next, tags. We don't need tags. And here, let's say AAD, admin. Role description, skip it for now. Create role. Okay, so we have one role here. We do same thing for the second one, the view only one. So click here, Azure AD, next. And view only access. Okay, actually I will choose a different one. I will choose S3. S3 read only. Yeah, it will be easier to show you the different things in the console later on. Okay, so review and say AD S3 RO. Read only. Okay, create role. Okay, so now we can see that the trusted identities for this role, should be the same for the other one, is our Azure AD, okay? So now what we are going to do. So every time we create a role in AWS, we need to create a group in our Azure Active Directory. So let's go for it. So we're going to go to Active Directory and we're going to create two groups. New group, AWS admin. Okay, create and create a new one. AWS S3 arrow. Create. Okay. Okay, so now we created the groups. We need to configure the application inside Azure to map the groups to our roles. Okay, so let's go. So we're gonna go to app registrations on AWS, and here we're gonna edit the manifest. So if you choose the automatic way, you don't need to edit this manifest, and this manifest will be edited by Azure itself. But like I said, the automatic way requires a user running inside the AWS account. And that means sharing the access and secret key. So here, we're gonna just copy paste this one. Okay. And here, we're gonna see that later. So let's say this one will be admin, display name admin, long, we don't need that, and the value here. So for the value here, we need to have two parameters. The first one will be the role RN, comma, the identity provider RN. So let's go back to AWS. So the role RN is this one, and the identity provider RN is this one. Okay, without a space. And here we need to put the object ID of the group we just created. So let's open a new tab. Let's go to Active Directory, Active Directory. Select groups, and then when you click on the group, you will be able to see the object ID, and you just need to copy it. So just copy and paste it here. Okay, and now we do the same thing for the other group, which is S3 read only. So since we are here, we're gonna just copy the object ID. Okay, up. Okay, and we need to change the role here, so don't remember exactly which name I put. AD S3 arrow, okay. Okay, save. Ah, this already. Okay. So now we're gonna add the users inside Azure to be able to use the application AWS. Okay, so let's go to the Active Directory again and Enterprise Applications. Enterprise Applications and AWS, and here on the users and groups we're going to choose the users or groups that are allowed to use this application. So let's click on add a user, select the user, so I will choose myself, select, and I will choose the admin for now. Okay. So now, if I try to log in Azure with a link that Azure AD provides me to able to connect to AWS, I will be able to use the role admin. Okay, so let's go that. So on properties here, you have user access URL. So you just copy this link and then you can paste it here. And if you're not signed in with Azure, it will ask you to sign in and then you will be able to use the role. So now I click on the role, connection. Role session name is required. We have an error here. The namespace is not correct. So let's copy paste this one and put it back here. Save. Okay. So let's try again. Properties and user access URL. Okay, copy, paste. Okay, now we are signing. You see here, we are signing as AD admin, and this is the session name actually. Okay, so here we can see everything, like we can do everything we want. Like for example, we can go to IAM and create new stuff, just to show you that I have admin rights. So if I want to create a group, let's create a group, test. Oh, now it's in French. Oh, anyway. See here, created a group. Let's switch to English. Okay. So we saw that the admin role is working great. Now I want also to add the S3 read-only access. So let's sign out and let's go back to the console of Azure and just add a new user role. So here on users, what is users? here, just add a new user and we'll select myself again, but this time I will select S3 read only. Sorry, S3 read only. Select. Assign. Okay, so here you see I have myself added twice, and the roles that I have assigned is admin and S3 read only. Okay, so now if I log in again, Amazon will ask me which role I want to assume. Okay, so let's go back, logging again. So here you see Amazon asked me which role should I sign on. I will just choose the S3 read only, and we will see we will not have any permissions to, for example, to go to IAM where we were before. So yeah, recent activities, but let's say just IAM. Click here, and you will see now everything will be denied. So for example, if we go to users, roles. This is still a cache issue, I guess. See here, I think with roles I have some cache here, but actually I think it's a cache of browser. But anyway, here you see identity provider, I cannot go, account settings, I cannot go. Let's go to EC2, for example. And here we will not be able to see anything, or at least launch instances. Launch, choose no keeper. And you see, launch failed. We are not authorized because we have only S3 read only access. So now let's go to S3, and here I don't have any buckets, but we'll be able to have the dashboard and no problem here. Don't have any buckets, but at least we don't get any error. Okay, so that's it for this part. Another thing, so of course it's quite annoying to add a user every time for every role that you have. You can, instead of adding users, you can also add groups, and then if your users inside Azure AD belongs to a group, then you don't need to add the users one by one. So here, I add myself twice because I wanted to use the two roles, but I can also add a group here. So yeah, for example, S3 admins, and it will be mapped to S3 admins, admins, and I can assign this one. So here the user, here's the group. But there is one thing, you might not be able to do that. Because to do that, your Azure AD needs to be at least in P2 Premium. So I requested the demo feature for 30 days, and you can see here my Azure AD is in P2 Premium. So that means I can add groups and not only users. But if you just created an Azure account, you don't have this Azure AD P2 Premium. So you will not be able to add groups, is why I showed just before the users. But if you are a big corporation, you definitely should have Azure AD Premium P2 activated, because it offers a lot of functionalities. And yeah, I think for a big corporation, it's a bit better to have like the Premium P2 than the normal one. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I don't provide any code for this because it requires a lot of PowerShell, and I'm not a big fan of writing PowerShell code, but at least you understand the concepts, and this is the most important thing, the concepts first and then the automation. Okay? So I hope to see you soon, and until next time, bye.